Dhaka. This is Tahmina Nupur and you are watching BSS News. At first, the headline. Supreme Court reinstates caretaker government system. Bangladesh begins walking on democratic highways, says Attorney General. Caretaker government revival verdict to usher in new horizons, says Khasru. Caretaker government verdict a historic milestone, says Jamaat. Trump signs bill requiring Epstein files release. Now the details. Supreme Court reinstates caretaker government system. The appellate division of the Supreme Court reinstated the caretaker government system today, Thursday, in Dhaka. The full bench led by Chief Justice Syed Rifat Ahmed delivered the short judgment in the morning. The court said the previous judgment was set aside entirely due to errors on record. With that, the non-party caretaker government provisions under Chapter 2A of the Constitution stand revived. However, the restored articles will operate only in the future. The appellate division gave this ruling after 10 consecutive days of hearings. The date for the verdict had been fixed on 11th November. Attorney General Mohammad Asaduজ্জামান and Additional Attorney General Barrister Onik R. Haq argued for the state's senior advocates Joinul Abidin and Ruhul Quddus Kajol represented the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. Advocate Mohammad Shishir Moni appeared for Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami, while Advocate Sharif Bhuiya represented 5 distinguished citizens. Barrister Ehsan Abdullah Siddiq joined as an intervener. The case reached the appellate division after leave to appeal was granted on 27th August 2025 against the 2011 judgment that had struck down the 13th Amendment. Earlier, on 17th December 2024, the High Court had ruled that abolishing the caretaker government system was unconstitutional. Following that verdict, Attorney General Mohammad Asaduজ্জামান told reporters that the ruling effectively restored the caretaker provision. Bangladesh begins walking on democratic highways, says Attorney General. Attorney General Mohammad Asaduজ্জামান today said the Supreme Court's verdict restoring the non-party caretaker government system has opened what he described as a journey on a democratic highway. He told journalists on the Supreme Court premises in Dhaka after the judgment, the ruling, he said, cleared the path for ensuring that people will be able to cast their votes freely in the coming days. He also said there would be no more incidents of ballot stuffing before polling and no deceased voter would reappear at a center. The court had corrected the earlier error and that the verdict reflected people's aspiration for free, fair and transparent elections. Earlier in the day, the appellate division reinstated the caretaker government system while allowing several civil appeals. The restored provision will apply only to future elections. The ruling followed the court's decision on 27th August 2025 to grant leave to appeal against the 2011 judgment that had scrapped the system introduced by the 13th Amendment in 1996. The order came after hearing on multiple review petitions seeking revival of the caretaker arrangement. A total of 4 petitions were filed by Bangladesh Nationalist Party Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, Bangladesh Jamaat-e-Islami Secretary General Mia Golam Parwar, 5 prominent citizens including Sujon Secretary Dr. Bodul Alam Mojumdar and another individual petitioner. All petitions were heard together. Earlier on 17 December 2024, the High Court had declared the abolition of the caretaker government system unconstitutional. Caretaker government revival verdict to usher in new horizons, says Khasru. Bangladesh Nationalist Party Standing Committee member Amir Khasru Mahmood Chowdhury today said the Supreme Court verdict reinstating the election-time caretaker government system would open new horizons for the country. He told the media after inaugurating a free medical services and health check-up camp at the base of Bottola Banyan Tree on Dhaka University campus this morning. He said a fair election was possible under a caretaker government and that the reinstatement had set the country on a new path. Discussions would take place on how the system would be formed. Earlier in the morning, the appellate division delivered its verdict upholding the caretaker government system by declaring the 13th Amendment valid. Speaking as a chief guest at the event, Amir Khasru said they had pledged to ensure free primary health care for citizens. He said health and education were primary rights and that their vision for a new Bangladesh included improved environmental and healthcare investments. People's tax money should be used appropriately, he said. Free primary healthcare, he said, would allow families to save several thousand taka each month. He also said the Bangladesh Nationalist Party would allocate up to 5% of GDP to education and healthcare. Caretaker government verdict, a historic milestone, says Jamaat. Bangladesh Jamaat Islami today welcomed the Supreme Court verdict restoring the election time caretaker government system. The party called the ruling a historic milestone. The reaction came at an emergency press conference at its central office in Mogbazar after the appellate division announced the judgment earlier in the day. Jamaat's Assistant Secretary General Ahsanul Mahbub Zubair said the earlier decision that abolished the caretaker system had been controversial and politically motivated. He said the abolition had allowed ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to establish an authoritarian rule. Zubair said elections held without a caretaker government were marked as tainted episodes in the country's history. The verdict, he said, would help democracy return to its rightful course. He said the party expected the interim government to ensure a free, participatory and neutral national election. He said the Jamaat and the people would resist any attempt to stage another engineered election. Calling the ruling the beginning of a new era for neutral elections, he said citizens had long awaited the system's return. The verdict, he said, would strengthen democracy and protect people's voting rights. Trump signs bill requiring Epstein files release. United States President Donald Trump on Wednesday signed into law the Epstein Files Transparency Act in Washington. The legislation requires the release of government records on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The bill passed Congress on Tuesday with rare bipartisan unity after the president reversed his earlier opposition. Trump confirmed the signing on social media. Senior Democrat Chuck Schumer warned in the Senate that the president must apply the law faithfully. He said there should be no attempt to hide documents through redactions, delays, or claims of ongoing investigation. The law gives the Department of Justice 1 month to release unclassified files online, including transcripts, flight logs, and communications. Only narrow exceptions apply for personal data and genuine legal or security concerns. Questions remain over whether the administration will fully comply. Analysts fear officials may cite ongoing probes, including a new investigation ordered by the president last week into Epstein ties with Democrats. Attorney General Pambondi said there was new and additional information and urged any victims to come forward. She also said the government would provide maximum transparency under the law. Epstein's case has long raised questions about powerful individuals linked to him, and his death in 2019 deepened public distrust and fueled conspiracy theories. That's all for today. For more information, visit bssnews.net, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit the bell button. Thanks for watching.